Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. Sunday, November the 11th, the year 2018. Let's talk trading. Weekly open and gap. Before we trade the weekly open and gap, though, money and risk management. We'll move over to the gap chart. Okay, looks like, well, as you can see here, I got in kind of late. I think the market's been open for about 6 hours or so. And you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, 9 pairs that haven't filled the gap. So there's still opportunity. Going back to the monthly, you can see we crossed below the midpoint. So it made a high, turned around, went back. A short at that midpoint on the month would be worth 45 pips. Looking at the weekly, you can see here we entered, or actually we entered the lower wick zone, turned around, one out, and we're about 28 pips or so above the lower weekly wick zone. And looking at the daily, you can see here we exited the daily. We'll show that later. It's early in the day. You can see here we don't have anybody over 100 pips yet. We exited that daily lower wick zone right there, and we'll see it in a chart or two. Okay, the buy zone. You can see we took out the pivot. It was just we had a nice drop, simple, just buy the open or wait to the could have always waited right here to the buy zone, but since you wanted to one, fade the gap, hit the pivot, I mean, you've got things lined up, and so that would have been a nice trade, clearing the pivot there. That could have been worth anywhere from 20 to 30 pips depending on where you entered. Nice way to start the week. We're right at 40, so you can see here the red rat zone, green rat zone are just right next door to each other. So we'll have to wait for a rat trade. Once again, we took out that pivot. Weekly pivot, 129.25. Think about that, hitting that weekly pivot. But also remember, we missed the pivot last week. See, we returned to a monthly pivot right here. Weekly R1, 129.88, and with a weekly S1 somewhere around the 127, no, weekly S1 right here, 128.37. And you see here we've got 3 missed pivots now. So will we take out this one or this one next? Okay, looking at price action here. See a 3-ball on the bottom from the Friday. Right here on the open, once again, we'd be fading. Green at the line, and you see you have here 1 ball, red at the line. So you should be out of the long, thinking short. You can see here we just about hit that midpoint, turned around. Once again, taking that candle color at the line is a profitable trade right there. You want to get that first line, the first line that crosses. That's when you have the highest probability of a win. And you can see here on the wick zone, price doesn't like staying in the wick zone. It opened right here in the daily wick zone and shot out. That would have been good for almost 18 pips taking the wick zone trade. Okay, the holo setup, you see here at highest open turned, and there's a few pips to be had. Only right now you'd be up 4 if you're still riding a trade, or you could have popped out at 5, possibly. And you can see here, Larry live trade. We got the short trigger right here at 129.03. We got a long trigger now at 129.17. My favorites right here. There's that trade. Weekly open cross right there. Once again, proving to be profitable. And as you can see, the tick chart, not really much action at the moment. You can see where the bid crossed above the valley of the ask right there. And now we're looking at, oh, you're maybe up a pip. And you can see here on the Einstein line, we haven't had a trigger. So we just wait. So that's pretty much it to open the week. Hope you guys had an enjoyable weekend, but now it's trading. So as you're trading, just remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So let's start draining the banks this week.